The big one, Ireland v England. Last time Ireland have won 5 in a row against England was back in the 1970s. But this Ireland team, they're going to be very hard to beat, aren't they?
They are. I think everyone is very well aware of and conscious of the quality they have. I suppose it's dealing with that expectation. Pressure is probably going to be the key for Ireland. I think it's very strange that an Irish side are going to Twickenham overwhelming favourites. Historically, when I was involved with Irish teams and growing up, even going to England or France was, you were saying your prayers really as regarding the scoreline and stuff like that, hoping for a situation where you could stop England or stop France in these big games. That's not always been the case now because, of course, Ireland have many great teams at times, well before my time, have gone and got great wins on the road. But, generally in my time, it was always a really tough task and England were always the favourites. So it's changed in the last couple of years and England have had their issues under Eddie Jones, and I think particularly the latter part of his tenure, they've also struggled with an identity of how they're actually playing. I think historically England were always big, strong, physical, good kicking game. And of course they had quality and an X factor that could cut you apart, and they could play great rugby around their front foot. But we just haven't seen a lot of attacking flair from them, and it's probably gone on for a while now, and they're trying to find their feet. I think under Andy Farrell, my cat, after Joe Schmidt in 2019, it took a while for Ireland to get to this position of being a really cohesive, free-flowing attacking side, really good skill set, good close passing, and just so effective at holding on to the ball for long periods. Obviously, it didn't work out, in the quarter-final against New Zealand, and that's still hanging over this team. So England proved that, with their physical power and their strength, they can cause the opposition problems, and that will be the case on Saturday. So, we saw what happened against England and South Africa in that semi-final. England had that game won, probably should have won the game. So, for all Ireland's brilliant skill set, England are the ones who could have been in a World Cup final. And but on the balance of what we've seen in the Six Nations, again, England's attack has been disappointing. I actually saw the last game against Scotland. I could see them trying to put a bit of shape in their attack, but it broke down a fair bit again. So for Ireland to go overwhelming favourites is not, it's not an usual situation that Irish rugby teams are used to, but it is what it is, and I think this team are quite calm and comfortable, and that comes from the coach. I think he sets the standard with their approach. Fantastic results in Marseille in the first game. I think second, third, maybe might have touched fourth once or twice against in the Wales-Italy games, but no more. I think there's a lot more in this Irish team, and I think they'll be very mindful of the ferocity that's going to come on Saturday. That's one thing you're guaranteed, is England are going to really try and rip into Ireland, unsettle them, be really physical, and they have a lot of powerful players. So rugby is, ultimately, if you're standoffish and you're a lovely, skillful team and all that. But I think this Ireland team are not that. I need to clarify that point. We're a physical side, There's a lot of abrasive players in this Irish team. They're not afraid of confrontation. Just look at the two centres of Aki and Henshaw, Porter, Sheehan, Joe McCarthy being in there now. So, of course they will try, and there's small margins around those collisions, set piece, all that kind of stuff in any of these big test games. So I don't think Ireland will be scared of that. But they will have to front up themselves. So for me, it's a psychological battle for this Irish team at the weekend, getting their own heads right, their emotion right, and actually you understand that the opposition are going to throw the kitchen sink at you, and England have some very good players. So I think the problem we're talking about, and it's not just me, it's everybody says at the moment, until they prove us wrong, that England are quite bland in the way they play. they will develop their attack more for sure, I think, and I think they probably realise at this stage that they need to, but at the moment, Ireland are rightly favourites going there, and we've had a really good run against England in recent times, as you said.
Matt, it's a big day for Ireland, but a huge day for Steve Borthwick in England. Reports coming out this week that all they're doing is defending. One of the backs only touched the ball once in training session. Alan said he saw a wee bit more of it against Scotland, which I think we all did. But do you expect them to evolve that attack a wee bit more again? Or is it back to kicking the leather off it, up and unders and just defending and the maul? Which way do you see this England team, if they are to challenge Ireland at the weekend, going?
Well, Stu, if one of the English backs only touched the ball once during training, well, that's reflecting in their games, isn't it? I mean, they're just not cohesive. Against Scotland, they made 25 handling errors. I mean, that's staggering. You put on top of that 22 turnovers, so probably some of those errors can be classed as turnovers, but that just makes a number that's unsustainable for victory. You can't put your game plan in place when you're making that many handling errors and turnovers. Look, I suspect that England will keep going forward. They have no choice. They can't go back because it's just going backwards is not going to work for them. The only thing you could see, and Alan's is 100% correct in what you said, Stu, we could see the shape, but how many times did they pass the ball and the pass was poor? They threw one pass. George Ford, who I really like as a player and respect, threw two shocking passes. One hit Furbank in the head that there was a falcon into the Scottish hands that led to Van der Merwe's long-range try. They're making errors left, right and centre. It was a defensive error that led to Van der Merwe's first try when Scotland put on a great set play from a scrum. So, like first of all, at Test match rugby, you've got to get your defence right. Now, in the last 13 games, I've got it written down here, Ireland have let in 13 tries. England have let in 38. Now, let's just say that again. 13 in 13 games, just one a game, to 38 from England. So England's defence is really poor. You then switch that on its head. In the first three games, Ireland have scored 15 tries, England have scored 6. So, you know, the Alan's description of where England are is accurate. They're lost at the moment. They're trying to go forward. And I think, again, Alan's comparison to where Ireland were post-World Cup 2019 is right. England have lost their way and they're desperately trying to find it. But if they keep that error rate as high, they just won't. You just can't win any game with an error rate like that. Now, what has England got to do? They've got to first of all get their defence right, and defence is the foundation. If you don't have good defence, you just can't win Test matches. And probably Ireland's defence has been forgotten because their attack is just so spectacular. But Ireland have defended really well, as the stats I just put to you tell us. Now, if England are going to do this, they're implementing a new defence. Just so everyone at home knows what that is. Very similar to South Africa. Felix Jones, Irishman, who was in South Africa, has brought it to England. They compact their defence. So in other words, they leave maybe 15 to 20 metres on the edge free. They stand shoulder to shoulder, and the idea is you come up fast and you trap the ball in that area. Don't let it get out to the fringes. Italy have got the ball to the fringes. Scotland have got the ball to the fringes. Wales, not as much. I thought Wales' tactics were wrong. Ireland beat South Africa 2 times in a row by an ability to have an attacking system with short, fast passes that got the ball to the fringes. So unless England can trap Ireland's ball in that area, Ireland will score plenty of tries. Now, we saw Ireland at a open training session at the Aviva throwing these long, we call them harbour bridge passes, that big archy pass to the fringes. Now, whether that's Mike Cat just playing with English minds, I don't know. But that is where the space is. The second part, for England to score some tries, they've just got to maintain possession. We don't know what their attacking system is because it's been so poor. But in general, Stu, to answer your question and follow on Alan's, England have got to go forward. They can't retreat. Retreat leads to more defeat. The only thing I would say, and I've checked the weather reports, there is forecast of rain at match time. Now, it's a bit, like all forecasts, you can't guarantee it. If it rains, that will play into English hands because it takes away from the attacking team's ability to move the ball as wide as quickly because of the skill. Your skills deteriorate in the rain. But again, let's also say this is not a good Irish side. This is a great Irish side. This is the best Irish team I've seen. And again, we compare to England. England lose Farrell, and disgracefully so because he was harangued out by abuse from his own people. Their attack loses their way. Ireland lose Sexton, a talismanic figure, put a young Jack Crowley in, and the attack just keeps going. And Crowley's done a fantastic job with the attack. So they're mirror images of each other, of a really good defence, a really good attack. They both lost their leaders. They've replaced them. One team is lost, the other team is found. And it's difficult to not say those things wearing an Irish hat. We all don't like saying, oh, well, we don't want to go there overconfident. Our job, that's the player's job. Our job as people who are observing is just to say Ireland's tactics, their statistics and their form is overwhelming. And the English statistics and form is completely underwhelming.